We're just going to look at the registry for the Windows 9X. The first one we've got here is the HKey class's root, and this is used for file associations. As we can see when we open it up, we've got a whole bunch of different file association types. After that, we've got the HKey current user, and this is configuration information for the current user. We've got the HKey local machine, which is for hardware, for common hardware settings. There's the HKey users, which is configuration information for all users that have ever logged onto the system. We've got the HKey current configuration, which is a current configuration for the hardware. And the last one we've got is the HKey DYN data. And this is for hardware devices and information that's held in the RAM. When Windows automatically backs up the registry every time it's booted, and the previous versions of the registry files are stored in system DA0 and user DA0. In this video, we're going to be talking about configuring your Windows 98 environment. As you might well know, that by working with the mouse, you're able to select items by clicking once on it, double clicking to open up any particular item. And if we want to see properties of a particular item, we're able to right click it, and this opens up our properties and we're able to do some configuration with it. This generally applies to any kind of icon that is visible. One left click to select it, two left clicks to open it, and one right click to open up the properties, and then from the properties menu you would select what you particularly want to do with that item. We've got something like the clock here, where we're able to, by hovering over, we're able to get information. Generally there's a little bit of an information window that will pop up if we leave it to hover for a few seconds, and we can see what the particular item is and a brief description about it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just quickly adjust the clock, where we've got adjust date and time. Opens up a window, the date and time properties, and from here we're able to select the particular date and time that we want, and once completed we can also even adjust over here with the AM, the PM. If we want to enter in manually on the keyboard, we're able to do so also. The time zone, and we're able to set it to automatically adjust clock for daylight saving changes. And once we're finished with our configuration, we simply press apply, and we can see now that the current configuration has been updated because we no longer have the apply visible and we have no more selection for it. So we can just go ahead and select OK. Sometimes when you open up Windows and you select OK, it will also apply the changes that have been made depending on what the particular device is. This one does actually apply it when we select OK. We don't have to select apply and OK individually, but it is a good idea to get in the habit of selecting apply first before selecting OK to make sure that your particular configuration change has been implemented. We've got here for the toolbars, where we're able to open up the address, the links, the desktop, the quick launch. And what this means is, if down at the bottom of the screen, I've got my toolbar at the bottom of the screen, which is adjustable. I'm going to show you in a second how to do that. But we're just going to open up a quick launch toolbar here, which this is a quick launch toolbar where we're able to launch things like Internet Explorer, Outlook Express, or show the desktop or any other items that have been enabled onto our quick launch menu. We're able to have a toolbar for links, where we want to quickly surf different links on the internet. We've got our links established here, and if we want to add and change things on the links here, we're able to do so. We're able to delete it, and we're able to once again to implement it if necessary. The next one that we've got an option to Cascade Windows, and we're just going to open up some more windows here just so we can see how the cascading works. And what this does is, if you've got several different windows that have been opened up and you want to be able to view them all or make selections of ones, um, cascading windows opens them up in a way that we can see them. It kind of minimizes them in a way that we can quickly grab them and see them, all the different windows that are open. If I had more windows opened, they'd all be visible currently right now. We're able to tile windows horizontally, and what this does is this opens one on top of the other. If we had more, they would be opened as a tile horizontally, one on top of another. Vertically does the same thing, but it does it vertically, so we're able to kind of use both windows at the same time. It's good if you're comparing or if you're moving files from one area to another. We're able to do it much quickly by selecting like this and moving everything over. If I've got another Windows Explorer opened up, which I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and close my computer, and I'm going to do this tile vertically. And if I want to move files over from one area to another, this is just a quick way to do something like this. I've got a bunch of temporary files. I've got some unzipped files here, and I'm able to simply, if I want to transfer this item, this particular folder, into my temporary file, I could simply drag it and drop it. And as we can see, what this does is this has actually transferred this folder from my unzipped folder into my temporary folder. And I'm able to view this also when I open up my unzipped folder. I can see that the particular file is now gone from here, and it is currently in my temp folder. This is just a quick way to kind of use your horizontal and your vertical tiling. If necessary, it's a quick way to transfer files, select a whole bunch of files, transfer them over if you need to, depending on what you're doing with it. So I'm going to go ahead and shut these two down. And we've got properties that we're able to adjust here, where we're able to adjust where the toolbar, where the taskbar options, we can select it to auto hide and apply. And what this does is this hides our taskbar. In order to find it, we would now have to move our mouse to the bottom of the screen and wait, and then the taskbar actually pops up. I'm just going to unselect that, and we can also see here in the quick little visual here of what's going to be happening, auto hide and turning it off and on. We've got always on top. So once we apply it, we can kind of see what has happened here, where it's showing and not showing. We can see here if we have another folder that's opened up or another window that's opened up, it's going to be on top of our particular taskbar. Generally, it is a good idea to keep your taskbar always on top, because you don't want to have it covered in case you want to have quick access to it. We've got a show small icons and start menu. This actually affects our start menu, so when we open up the start, our icons are now small, or we can change it and we can unselect it like this, and we can see that once again they're a little bit bigger. And we've got the clock. We can show the clock or we can hide the clock, so depending on what we want to do. We can see here that it didn't work particularly with checking and unchecking. We had to select apply, or as we talked about earlier, some cases you can select a configuration and implement it by just simply pressing OK, depending on what it is that you're working with. Now this can be also accessed from selecting anywhere here in the middle. We lose our option of adjusting our time and date, but we have the same options as we did with selecting on top of the time here. So maybe if you've selected properties and you've gotten rid of your clock, you don't know how to get it back, and you can't adjust the time as quickly here, you want to get the time back, you would right click on your taskbar here at the bottom, open up the properties and select show clock and apply. We've got the different start menu programs that we're able to add and remove different programs that we have in our start menu. If you want to add anything in particular into your start menu, we would simply go to add. We would enter in the command line. I'm just going to call it test, and I'm just going to select a new folder to open in and call this one test also. And the name of the shortcut, we'll just keep it at test. Finish. I go to start. It's in the programs files, so we can open up programs. We can see here that we've got a new folder named test, a new program named test, and there's a folder inside of it also called test. To access it, we just would simply click it, and we can see that there's absolutely nothing inside of this particular folder because we've just created. We can remove it by simply selecting remove, and yes, we do want to remove it, and now we see that it has been removed. If we select advanced, this is a quicker way to maybe move some stuff around if you need to, or you can simply enter in, select anywhere on the open space on the right here in this particular window, right click, and we can enter in a new folder if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and select folder. I call this one test again, and just select off of it, open up the start, and we can see that now our particular test folder or quick icon has come to the start menu here, and if we had anything inside of it, we would be able to go to start and open that up. This is a quick way to kind of adjust what you're able to see and what you're able to do with the start menu. And if we want to get rid of it, we could either right click on it from here or here. It's going to be the same thing. We can open it, we can explore it, which we don't need to do because there's nothing inside. If we want to find anything in particular, we could select here, but once again there's nothing inside. If we want to cut and copy, we've got these options available to us. If we want to send it to a floppy drive, we've got mail recipient if we want to create a shortcut onto the desktop, or the My Documents. If we select here the floppy drive, we would have to have a disk inside of our floppy drive, and if we selected it, I don't have a disk in there right now, that there's no disk in the drive, but if we did, it would open up a little window where we'd be able to enter in what we're going to call this particular file, and it would then go ahead and transfer it onto the disk. If we want to send it to the desktop, to create a quick shortcut on the desktop to this particular folder, generally it's better used if you're using a program you want to have access to quickly. You don't want to be searching through. Sometimes when you install a particular program, they don't give you the icon that you want, so you could go to here and you could go create a shortcut. So now we've created a shortcut onto our desktop environment. Just going to move this out of the way, and we see that the particular folder that we've created, test, we've got a shortcut that we're able to access it quickly, or we're able to access it from the start menu. This is a good idea if it's a program that you use often and you don't want to always go to start, to programs, and maybe it's inside of something else, so you have to go on top of it and then you have to select it. If you want to have it quickly just over here on the start menu, you can do so, or you can also create a shortcut onto the desktop. What the advanced has done, it's just simply opened up a simple explorer, which we're able to open up also by right clicking on the start button and selecting explore. And what this does is this opens up the exact same window that we were in now. And if we went to start menu, we would be able to see it. So from here we're able to make some adjustments. We can right click to delete it also, or we could rename it if we wanted to, and we can configure our properties the same as the properties for any other file or folder. where we're able to select it, open it. We're able to change the attributes to a read-only attribute, which if other people that don't have the proper rights try to access this file, they're only able to read it. We've got a hidden and an archive, and we've also got enable thumbnail view. And once we do that, generally more used for image is where we would be able to enable a thumbnail view. If we want to have a particular image, then we would be able to do so here. We've got the date that it was created, the MS-DOS name, what we talked about with DOS earlier. You're able to have an 8-character file name, and if it's longer than 8 characters, Windows operating system allows longer file names, but it is actually compressed when it comes to DOS. And the actual name that we see here would, if we called this test folder, we would see it in our Windows operating system as test folder, but when we go to DOS, we would see it as test FO, and there'd be a little squiggly line and maybe a 1 or something, depending on if we've got other files that are named the same. It would automatically name it something different, and then the Windows operating system converts it in a form that we're able to see it. So I'm just going to go ahead, apply, and OK. And I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to delete it because we don't really need to use this one anymore. Clicking on it, automatically it's going to be sending it to the right recycling bin. So it's just asking us to confirm the deletion, and we're going to yes to confirm the deletion. So we've successfully created it and deleted it now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this window down, and we're going to go back to the task properties. There's one other thing in the task properties, which is the documents menu. We've got a little trash pail here, and we can see that we've got a clear button. And what this does is when you go to start, we've got documents here, which these are the latest documents that we've opened up and that we've looked at. And by pressing clear here, what this does is this clears out our documents folder here. So now we can see that we've got empty. If you've got a whole bunch of particular documents that you've been using, you're going to notice that your documents folder is going to be full. And if you want to keep maybe track of which ones you've been using in that particular day, generally what happens is the most recent ones are going to be on top, and depending on what your configuration is, it should list out about 10 to 15 different entries, and it would always bump off the latest one, the one that's been on there the longest. So you're always going to be able to visually see the most currently used ones. And this is just a quick way to clear it, your whole folder here if you need to. And I'm going to go ahead and shut that one down. So as we talked about earlier, if we want to open up some stuff here, we've got a choice. The start menu, we can either left click to open up the menu, or we can right click on the start button, and this opens up a quick little menu here. We're able to open, explore, and find. Selecting open opens us up in this environment here where we're able to see the different windows, and we're able to quickly select programs, NetMeeting, and Windows Update. Now if you notice, these three particular file folders are going to be the same as the three top ones here. So we've got the Windows Update, the NetMeeting, and Programs. So depending on how you've configured your start menu, that's what you're going to be able to see here under Start Menu. It's simply a file under Windows Start Menu. We're able to access it also by right-clicking, opening up the Explorer, and we're able to explore the Start Menu from here. We see that it is an actual folder that sits under the Windows in the Windows folder. To open that up quickly, we could select the drive that it's on, usually your main drive, select the Windows because it's in the Windows folder. We could go down, scroll down to the Start menu, and we see that we've got the exact same address here in the address bar, meaning that we're displaying the exact same information. You can adjust the way that the information is displayed by right-clicking anywhere here on the white space, and it gives me a selection of how I want to view these particular folders. Right now we're viewing it in large icons. We can view it in smaller icons. We can view it as a list, and usually the best one, if you're looking through and you want to see what's in each particular one, is the details, because this actually gives you a size. It tells you what type of folder it is and when it was last modified. So we can see the differences here. The large icons, sometimes people get used to the icons and they just want to simply just click from the icons, or if you want to see the details, you can right click to see the particular details. Also, by right clicking, we're able to customize this folder, which means that it opens up a wizard here, and it's going to customize the appearance of the folder. So we can have a background picture, we can remove the customization, we can create or edit HTML document. So the HTML is basically going to be how the page is going to be displayed. We're able to have a background picture if we want to always have any particular background picture. I'm just going to select one here at random, and we can see every time we open up this particular folder now, it's not relevant to the other folders, but every time we open up the Start menu folder, we've got this bubble background, which actually is a little bit irritating to view. You can't really see the black writing here. But just like with most of the stuff in Windows, everything is customizable to the user, and you're able to adjust it as you want to. Once again, by selecting right-clicking here, we can arrange the icons. Actually, I'm just going to go back to customize this, and I'm going to uncustomize it here, so we can just go back to normal here. As you can see here, we're able to also adjust the text, and if we want a particular background color, we're able to make the selections here too if we needed to do that. So we're able to adjust the text and the background color. It's going to select it to black. Once again, depending on the person and how they want to view it. So now we see that the text is white and the background of the text is black. So once again, right-clicking, arranging the icons, just like when we were looking at the desktop originally, we're able to arrange it by name, type, size, and date. It's a good way maybe if you've got a whole bunch of different folders here and you're having trouble, maybe finding something and you want to have a quicker access to it than always having to find it and search for it, you're able to just arrange it the way that you want it arranged. We can refresh it here. We're able to, if we've deleted something, we're able to undo here, paste a shortcut. If we want to create a new folder, we're able to create the folder here, where we've got some quick options here of the latest ones that I've been using that I'm able to create folders of. So if I've got a text document, I can quickly create another brand new file of a text document, and we can see here that it's taken the same properties with the black background and the white text on top of it. We've got some options here of the different kinds of new folders that we're able to create. If we create a shortcut, this is a shortcut to another folder. So we got to be prepared to enter in very similar to what we were doing earlier with the start here, where we'd enter a command line. So we'd enter in test, and we're going to name of the shortcut is called test. So when we select on this, what it's going to do, it's going to open this particular one, which is called Windows Test. So it's going to go back to the start menu. And then of course we've got the properties, where once again we're able to see the particular properties of the folder. It's the same thing as if we were to right click on it. We've got some of the same options here where we're able to see the properties once again, and we've always got the read-only properties, we've got the archive, and we've got the hidden. So something like read-only would prevent the user from modifying the particular file. The archive is just a storing of the file, and hidden would make it not visible for people that are looking through your or exploring your folders here, unless they had the folder options set to that. So I'm just going to select hidden and we'll see what happens and close. And we can see now that it's gone a little bit lighter. And what this is from the folder options, and we're able to adjust the different folder options. I'm just going to select this back to our original to customize this folder back to its default here. So we're going to talk about now about how to adjust the folder options and how to view the different folders. So we've got can select from the tools here. We're in the exploring menu where we've got to it by right clicking here on start, or we can select start, we can go to programs, and we can go to Windows Explorer. Now it's kind of the same name as the Explorer here, that's your browser, but it's actually two different things. This is the Internet Explorer and this is the Windows Explorer. So it's actually two different things, very similar. Sometimes people get them confused, but this is the Windows Explorer and we've got the Internet Explorer. So back to the Explorer, the Windows Explorer here. We've got actually three different versions here opened up to the same area. And we're working with the Windows and we're working with the Start menu. So from here you've got a bunch of quick icons here and you've got the address. You can also, I'm just going to add in a quick, a new folder. I'm just going to call it something like test. And we can see here that we've got it as called test. If I want to access this through the address bar, I could just do a // and I could select test, and we can see that this has now opened up the particular one that we just created. We go back up and we see it there. If we select it, double click it with your mouse with the left button, we open up the same address. So we can either access these through the Explorer by typing in the particular address of the folder or file that we're looking for, or we could simply select each icon and that opens up until we find the one that we're looking for. We're able to see properties the same way as when we were right clicking to open up all the different properties. We can simply select it and select properties and it opens the exact same thing. We talked about with the hidden, and right now I'm just going to select those. So you see that it fades out a little bit. And what this means is that someone that's just looking through or exploring through your Windows folders, if you don't want them to see particular folders, if it's hidden, what we do, we select tools, and we've got view here. We select folder options, and from folder options we're able to select the different kinds of folder options. We've got the Windows Desktop Update, where we're able to adjust the different settings. If we select settings here, we're able to customize our settings. We've got a whole bunch of different options here. We can customize our active desktop, browse folders as follows, view web content in folders, click items as follows. So here we've got the double click to open an item. If we only want to single click to open an item, we can select here, and we see that underline icon titles consistent with my browser settings. So here we'd only have to single click something and it would open up that particular link, but we're just going to keep it as double click because it's kind of standard with the Windows operating system. Most people that are using it are used to double clicking, so it's probably better that we don't adjust that. View, as we can see, we can view the folders. If we've adjusted the different view of it, we can make all of the folders viewable like the current folder. So if I've had this particular viewing properties that we were working on earlier, and I want to make all the folders look the same as that one, we could select like current folder, or we could reset all of the folders to look as they basically did from the default category. We've got here we've got advanced setting about how the files are going to look. Generally, there's not much to touch here. The only one that is the hidden files, where you want to you can either show hidden files or system files, or you can show all files, or you don't have to show hidden files. So sometimes, unless you've selected show all files, the files will not be visible. And as you can see here, once I selected the show all files, I've got a few that were actually hidden from before that have now popped up into view. This was the test that we hid earlier, and this is the test that we hid now. So by selecting the viewing hidden folders, we've automatically been able to see some hidden files. Usually hidden files are used with the configuration files or system files that they don't want particular users to be able to access, so that's why they would make them hidden. If you know there's a file there but it's not showing up on your screen, then it's more than likely that it's a hidden file and that the folder options aren't showing the particular hidden file. So we're just going to go do not show hidden files or system files, and we've got an option for do not show hidden files. So we're going to leave it here as the default, or if we've got this mixed up and we just want to restore back to the defaults, we can simply select restore defaults and apply, and this restores our defaults as the name would imply. So here we're able to actually, our hidden files have disappeared. If I can, just going to close this one up and open up the Windows Start, and we can see that these our folder that we made, the test folder that we made hidden, is no longer visible because we've changed our folder options.